Hi everyone, and welcome back to Understanding Depression, the podcast where we unpack the truths behind mental health, one episode at a time. Today, we're talking about something that many of us have felt, but few of us really recognize the danger of: chronique stress, burnout, and how over time, these can slowly lead us down the path toward depression. If you've ever felt like you're running on empty, like you're just going through the motions, or like your spark is fading, you're not alone. So grab a moment for yourself, breathe deeply, and let's explore this together. Stress, in short bursts, can be helpful. It keeps us alert, focused, and ready to respond to challenges. It's a survival tool hardwired into our biology. But what happens when stress doesn't go away? What happens when your body and mind are stuck in a constant state of on? That's chronic stress. Unlike the brief pressure before a deadline or a big presentation, chronic stress is ongoing. It could stem from a toxic work environment, financial instability, long-term caregiving, or even the daily grind of trying to meet impossible standards, externally or from within. When we're under chronic stress, our bodies release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline again and again. Over time, this constant flood of chemicals takes a toll. Our immune system weakens, sleep becomes disrupted, memory fog creeps in, and emotional regulation starts to erode. We begin to feel exhausted, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. The kind of tired sleep doesn't fix. And if this keeps going, it sets the stage for something deeper and darker: burnout. We often throw the word burnout around casually. I'm so burnt out this week, or this job is burning me out. But burnout is more than just being tired. It's a psychological state caused by prolonged, unrelenting stress, and it changes the way you think, feel, and function. The World Health Organization defines burnout as a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that hasn't been successfully managed. But burnout isn't limited to jobs. It can happen to parents, students, caregivers, even activists. Anyone carrying more than they can realistically handle for too long is vulnerable. The signs? They sneak up on you. Emotional exhaustion is the most obvious one. The kind of fatigue that drains your motivation, your patience, your creativity. Then comes depersonalization, a sense of detachment or cynicism. You stop caring, or feel like you're just going through the motions. You may even stop recognizing yourself in the mirror. Finally, there's a sense of reduced personal accomplishment, feeling like no matter how much you do, it's never enough. People experiencing burnout often describe feeling numb, like a shell, or like everything's just too much. It chips away at your confidence and joy, and makes it hard to remember what it felt like to be genuinely rested or excited. And here's the dangerous part: burnout and chronic stress don't just stay in their own lane. If left unchecked, they can evolve. They can morph into depression, a deeper, more pervasive state of despair. But how do we know when that line is crossed? That's exactly what we're diving into next. Burnout and depression can look incredibly similar, but while burnout is typically tied to a specific role or situation, like work or caregiving, depression seeps into every corner of life. It colors your thoughts, emotions, and even your sense of self-worth. So, how do we tell the difference? Here's one key distinction. Burnout is usually circumstantial, while depression often lingers even when the circumstances change. For example, someone who's burned out from their job may start to feel better after a long break or a new work environment. But someone with depression might still feel empty or hopeless, even when their external stressors are removed. Another clue is how deeply the symptoms affect your identity. Burnout makes you feel drained and cynical. Depression can make you feel like you're the problem, like you're worthless, unlovable, or broken. It can distort your perception of reality, convincing you that nothing will ever get better, and that maybe you don't even deserve to feel better. And here's the hardest part: Burnout can trigger depression if left untreated. That chronic stress response wears down your brain's ability to regulate mood, memory, and focus. Over time, the emotional exhaustion turns into persistent sadness, hopelessness, or numbness. The loss of motivation grows into a sense of meaninglessness, and what was once just fatigue becomes something much heavier, a fog that doesn't lift. If you're finding yourself thinking, "What's the point?" or if you've lost interest in things you used to love, it might not just be burnout anymore. You could be dealing with depression. Endure no talon. The good news is, both burnout and depression are treatable, but they require different approaches, and recognizing the shift is the first step toward healing. In the next segment, we'll talk about how to recognize red flags and how to move toward recovery before burnout takes a deeper toll. Sometimes, the shift from chronic stress to depression is so gradual, we don't even realize it's happening until we look back and think, "I haven't felt like myself in a long time." So, let's talk about the warning signs, the ones we often brush off, but shouldn't. One major red flag is losing interest in things you used to enjoy. If hobbies, relationships, or even food that once made you happy now feel like chores, that's more than just stress. That's your brain signaling that it's struggling. Another sign? Feeling opel. Chronic stress makes you tired. Depression tells you it's pointless. If you're catching yourself thinking, "Why even try?" or "Nothing's ever going to change," that hopelessness is a critical cue. Sleep changes are also a big one. Sure, stress can disrupt sleep, but depression takes it further. You might be sleeping way more than usual, or barely sleeping at all. Either way, you wake up feeling unrefreshed, like your rest is never enough. Changes in appetite can also show up, eating way more or way less than usual, along with noticeable weight changes over time. Then there's the emotional numbness. You stop feeling joy, even when something good happens. You laugh because you're supposed to, but it doesn't reach you. Or maybe you cry without knowing why, or you can't cry anymore at all. If these signs have been showing up consistently for more than 2 weeks, it might be time to seek support. But please know, noticing these signs isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of awareness. And awareness is powerful, because it means you can act, you can begin again, you can get help. In our next segment, we'll explore how to break the cycle, and what recovery can look like, even after burnout and depression have taken hold. Healing from burnout and depression doesn't mean snapping back to the person you were before. It means becoming someone new, someone who listens more closely to their needs, their limits, and their worth. So, how do we break the cycle? First, it starts with acknowledgement. Burnout thrive in silence. Depression feeds off invisibility. Saying "I'm not okay" out loud, even just to yourself, is a powerful first step. Then comes rest, not just sleep, real rest, the kind that allows your nervous system to reset, mentally, emotionally, and physically. This may look like reducing commitments, saying no more often, or taking actual breaks that don't involve catching up on work. But healing also requires connection. Burnout isolate you. Depression convinces you that you're a burden. Don't believe it. Whether it's a friend, a family member, a therapist, or even a support group, reaching out can remind you that you don't have to carry it all alone. Next is reclaiming small joys. Start with just one thing: listening to music you used to love, stepping outside for 5 minutes, journaling your thoughts without judgment. Small doesn't mean insignificant. It means manageable. And manageable is what matters right now. And of course, don't overlook professional help. Therapy can help unpack the root causes of your stress, while medication, if recommended, can help stabilize the neurological patterns shaped by prolonged exhaustion and hopelessness. There is no shame in needing support. You're not weak for being tired. You're human. And healing is not only possible, it's your right. In our final segment, we'll talk about prevention, how to create a life where burnout and depression don't just get treated, but where they become less likely to return. Let's be honest, we live in a world that often praises burnout. Busy is worn like a badge of honor. Overworking is seen as dedication. Rest is mistaken for laziness. And slowing down? Sometimes it feels like falling behind. But healing means rewriting that script. To protect yourself from slipping back into burnout, and to reduce the risk of depression, you need to intentionally design a life that honors your limits, your rhythms, and your humanity. Start by defining your non-negotiables. What do you need to feel grounded? Is it 8 hours of sleep? A slow morning? Time in nature? Whatever it is, name it, and protect it like it matters, because it does. Then practice boundaries, not just saying no, but also saying yes to things that align with your values. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They let the good in and keep the draining stuff out. Build sustainable routines, not just productivity hacks. Think nourrissement, not punishment. Instead of trying to be maximally efficient, aim to be gently consistent. Rest before you crash. Speak up before you explode. Step away before you break down. Surround yourself with people who get it, who don't glorify burnout, and who value mental wellness as much as you do. Your environment can either support your healing or sabotage it. Finally, remember that maintenance is part of healing. You don't have to wait until you're overwhelmed to take care of yourself. Think of mental health like dental health. You brush your teeth daily to prevent decay, not just when there's a cavity. Your mind deserves the same daily care. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to live a life that doesn't constantly drain you. And in our closing, I'll leave you with a reminder that you are not alone in this. If you've made it this far in the episode, thank you. Truly, talking about burnout and depression isn't easy. Living through them is even harder. But naming them? That's the beginning of taking your power back. Maybe you've been carrying more than anyone knows. Maybe you've been holding it together for so long, you're afraid of what might happen if you finally let go. But I want you to hear this clearly. You are not lazy. You are not weak. You are not failing. You are exhausted. And that exhaustion deserves care, not shame. Burnout and depression are not badges of honor, but neither are they sentences of defeat. They are signals, warnings that your system needs help. Your body, your brain, your heart, they're all asking for compassion, for rest, for permission to be human. So if today all you did was survive, that's enough. If all you can manage is taking a breath, drinking some water, or telling someone how you feel, that's enough. Healing isn't about speed, it's about direction. And wherever you are in your journey, you don't have to walk it alone. Support is out there. Recovery is real, and your story isn't over, not even close. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to share it with someone else who might need to hear it. And don't forget to follow Understanding Depression for more episodes on mental health, compassion, and real-life recovery. Your like, comment, or subscribe helps this message reach more people who might be quietly struggling too. Take care of yourself. Yumati. And I'm really glad you're here. Until next time, stay mindful, stay kind, and keep going.